All right, so hello everyone, welcome to our very warm welcome to everyone, I guess, in the northern part of the globe, to our latest Expert 2021 series from ILCA, International Language Coaching Association. We're really looking forward to today's talk. And what we have is a wonderful talk, and I'm going to close the window, but I'm going to introduce Jirina, who I met last year at the International ITEFL, and she was talking about learner autonomy again. And today it's going to be, I've seen the slides, it's going to be a wonderful talk. So really looking forward to it. Jirina, as I close the window, would you like to introduce yourself and say a few words, okay?
Okay. So my name is Jirina. I'm from the Czech Republic, and I'm in my first year of doctoral studies. I'm also an English teacher, and my interest is in communication in the classroom. And I'm also finishing a one-year coaching training, which I really enjoy because it offers me a way to talk to my students and to the clients as well in a non-directive way, to lead them to find their own solutions to their problems or to their language learning. So these two things brought me here. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you. And not sure if anything else needs to be said, or should I continue?
Yeah, I think we can move on. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
We're fine. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so thank you very much for coming, and I will share with you today the view of one principle of the language coaching approach, which is learner autonomy, and how we can support student autonomy through our communication with the students. And if you have any questions during the presentation, you can just post them into chat, and I'll be glad to answer them after the presentation. So these sessions are about language coaching. And if you look at this tree, imagine it's a language coaching tree, and it can only grow if the pieces of the puzzle fit together and if they are present. And the pieces of puzzle that you can see are, for example, the relationship with the students that we create, or the environment of trust that we build in the classroom, or the choices that we provide to the students. And one crucial piece of puzzle for language coaching to happen is learner responsibility and autonomy. And that's what we will talk about here today. So do you have days like this in your classroom? When you maybe cannot connect with your students are stuck not learning and rushing around, you get easily irritated by some of their behavior, saying things that seems to be not very helpful, maybe even harming the students. So imagine a day like this. And in the chat on Zoom, write in short, what was the situation like? And I can share my own. My students during the last online lesson I had were not speaking at all when I assigned an activity. And I had literally no idea what was wrong. So that's my situation. So you can post your situation into the chat.
Just in any situation where you feel things are a bit overcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, for those who are just joining, Jirina, can you tell us again what the task is?
Yeah, we were talking about situations like this in the classroom, like this rainy one, when we cannot really connect to our students and we are stuck in the lesson, students maybe not learning. We have problems to solve the situation somehow, and it irritates us. So days like this. So one situation, one specific situation, and if you can describe the situation in short in chat. So we already have some. Gabriela says when we have group work and the students start using L1. And Amy, thank you for sharing. So you have students that you feel that students talk about something else than you do. Okay, we have another situations.
Mm-hmm. Shall I read?
You can, yeah.
All right, okay. So we have two more, right? Did you read Amy's?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've got Amy's. Dylan says, hello, Dylan. When your proposed plan or topic for the lesson is clearly not interesting or relevant to the learners, that's his theme here. Kathy wrote, when I have an intention, but the learner may have another intention. Sebastian, thank you. He says, students are overexcited at the beginning of class, speaking among themselves without paying attention, making it hard to start teaching. And Kapka, it seems everyone has this kind of situation. I had a lesson where the student literally did not care and copied everything from web translator instead of translating it himself. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that's all, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you everyone for sharing the situations. So as you can see, these situations happen and might be or are problematic for us. And we need to respond to them somehow. And our aim is to find a way of responding to these situations, to solve them effectively without harming the students, but rather while supporting and caring for our relationship with the students, for their well-being, and specifically for their responsibility and autonomy. So when I say learner autonomy, what comes to your mind? How do you understand the concept of learner autonomy? Once again, you can write 1-2 sentences. How do you understand that into chat? Okay, what comes to your mind when I say learner autonomy? So how do you understand it? How do you understand learner autonomy?
Okay, here we have them. Okay. Amy says the learner is self-directed because they have enough metacognitive skills to think about how they learn. Wow, okay. Kathy, the learner has responsibility and knows somewhat what to do. They're self-motivated. Okay. Nelly, hello. Let them do the teaching. Okay. Katko says, I suppose it's the student who should choose what, when, and how he learns. Okay. Sebastian says, students, whoa, we've got too many answers. Wait. Students who do not depend on the teacher all the time, they are resourceful, know when to find answers and know their learning style, etc. Valerie says the learner is motivated and proactive. And Nelly added to hers, I let them do most of the work. So kind of pushing this responsibility, etc. Okay, thank you for these.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing. So I will share one widely used description of student autonomy, which is that students are autonomous when they take responsibility for their learning, for their actions, and not only in terms of what they learn, but also how they learn and how they behave in and outside of the classroom. And our role as teachers is to support the students and create the conditions where they can make their own choices, where they can tell their own opinions and where they can direct their own behavior and their learning. And I'm sure that you all create some of these conditions in your classroom to some extent, maybe intentionally, maybe unintentionally, and maybe each of you in different ways. And from the research, we know that we can support student autonomy and responsibility through our communication with the students, through what we say and how we say it when we respond to their behavior. And if we communicate certain way, we can build a safe learning climate where our students' needs and feelings are important, and students feel emotionally well, and they are trusted to find their own solutions to their problems. On the other hand, our communication to the students can also have the opposite effect. So let's try a small experiment here. I will tell you something, and I will share with you this list of feelings. So listen to my statements, and for each statement that I will tell you, choose how you feel when you hear it, and make notes. And when we finish this activity, write in the chat what were the feelings that you felt. Okay, so note the feelings. Stop complaining and start working. You don't have to write it into the chat yet. Okay, I can see that you are not interested in my presentation. You can just leave the Zoom meeting. You need to work now. Leave the phone until after the presentation. Okay, so can you share in chat your feelings now? You can put there 1 to 3 feelings, the most frequent feelings that you had. Okay, we have some threats: distrust, frustration, guilt, manipulation, inferiority, disrespect.
Quite negative, all of them.
All the negative, okay.
Okay. We have a new joiner, so yeah. Hello. Okay. Shall we read them all, or?
Yeah, that's enough. So as you can see, each statement sent has some impact on our feelings, on our emotions, self-concept, and responsibility. Because each message that we send to students contains something more than only the content. Stop complaining and start working. This may tell you that your feelings and needs are not important, and I know better how you should feel and behave. And this happens with each our message. So how can we expect the autonomy of the children to grow when we give no space to that? Stop complaining, start working. You're not here to sleep, you're here to work. So if we set this way, the walls and the boundaries so close to each other that there is no space for autonomy to flourish, it won't grow. On the other hand, if we provide students with enough space for their own responsibility, it will blossom. And through what we say and how we say it, we create the classroom climate. And we can create a climate where we control students and pressure them to feel or behave in our prescribed way without considering their perspectives, which leads to negative feelings, damaged self-concept. And as you can see, in such conditions, student responsibility simply cannot grow. Or we can create a safe climate where the students are trusted and their feelings, thoughts, needs are important and heard and have enough space. And in such climate, the students may become autonomous. And research suggests that teachers prefer taking control over students rather than exercising their agency. Maybe you can ask, why is it so? In a research study, which I conducted at university with reservist teachers, most of their communication with students was controlling, judging, punishing, threatening, commanding, without the place for student responsibility. They said to the students, for example, are you bored with the class? Or are you kidding me? You are at school, you should start working. Stop crying and do the work. You are a good student, you will be okay. So how do you feel? Does it evoke similar feelings that my statements evoked in you? Another disturbing research finding is that many teachers may be actually working blind, without knowing what impact can have their communication on students, and without knowing what to do differently. So let's have a look out of the dark. How can we talk to our students to be autonomy supportive? So there is a huge amount of communication strategies available. There are plenty of them where we know from the research that they foster learner responsibility and autonomy. And I will show you 3 of them. So let's take a straightforward and usual situation. You are giving instructions for an activity, and one of your students, Peter, is talking with his neighbor. How can we solve this situation effectively while providing him with a space for his responsibility? So on the next slide, you will see 4 responses from the teacher. Go through each statement, and for each of them, evaluate on a scale from 1 to 10. How effective do you think are these statements from the view of supporting student autonomy? So 1 is ineffective, no place for student autonomy. 10 is effective, the student has choice and control over the situation. Okay, take your time. I will give you a minute or so, how many you need. Okay, so I wonder what your answers were, which responses you rated as the most effective in learner autonomy and the least effective. I will show you which should be the most effective based on the research studies. So the first one is called I statement. So we are speaking about our feelings, our emotions. We describe the student behavior without judgment. We explain which concrete effect it has on us, and we share emotions and feelings that it evokes. This way, we give the student the responsibility to solve the situation for themselves. And there is no need for the student to feel threatened, judged, or commanded. And the second one is hinting, non-directional, non-judgmental description of behavior. So we are simply describing what's happening, possibly referring to the rules that we have in the class. So this way, again, we don't judge the student's behavior, and we leave this solution, or we leave the responsibility for the solution to the student. And I have one more situation to show you. So Anna, one of your students, comes to you with her unfinished homework and cries, "I don't want to do the homework." So again, the same process. Evaluate the statements on a scale from 1 to 10. How effective do you think they are in terms of learner responsibility and autonomy?
Jirina, shall we get one or two of the responses from the attendees?
We can, yeah, we can get,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. I'm just curious.
Okay, so if you wish, you can share your responses into chat. So you can label each of the statements. They are numbered, so.
Just so that we see what's going on for you.
Okay, statement 1 and 4.
Number 1 and 4 look like they would foster the most student autonomy. Okay. And then obviously 2 and 3, not so much. Do the others agree with this, or are there any alternatives? 4 gives more choice and control to the learner, I guess. Kathy, 4 is the most positive, but the teacher assumes that the learner is having a hard time. If they're crying, then I guess that would be the situation. Kotka says response 1 is a 2 on the scale, response 2 is a 7 on the scale, response 3 is an 8 on the scale, and 4 is a 10. So quite similar there. Okay. Any comments, Jirina, here?
Okay, so I will probably again share with you what are the effective skills used here. It's dark. I don't know why. So it's number 1 and number 4, which are both active listening or active empathic listening skills. And this way, we listen to our students with no judgment, and we accept their feelings. We paraphrase what they are saying. And if we do this, we hear and accept their emotions and their needs. And we lead them to find their own solutions to their problems and to their language learning. So these are the 2 used over here. So all of them, all three strategies that I show you, support the safe learning climate in which learner autonomy may grow. And all of them help students be responsible. So when we respond to students, when we talk to them, we always have a choice. We can control students' learning, leaving them lost, hurt, obedient, dependent, or we can give the control and choice to students so that they can find their own way of language learning. In language classrooms, when talking about students' feelings and emotions, it's good to reach them at their understanding level, which is their native language. In multilingual classrooms, we don't have this opportunity. So it's essential to scaffold the language and make it really simple and clear. I often hear my colleagues saying, I wish my students were more responsible and autonomous. And the question is, how do we encourage and foster greater responsibility in our students? And I brought here a view that we influence their responsibility and autonomy through our communication, through what we say and how we say it. And it can be both positive and negative influence. And you also have these three strategies from me that you can use. Do you remember them? I sent statements where we describe student behavior when you come late, when there are books scattered around. We describe the effect the behavior has on us. I have to stop whatever I'm doing. It's difficult to walk around the class. And we share the feelings that it evokes. It makes me nervous, tired, angry. I'm worried that someone might get hurt. The second one is hinting, where we non-judgmentally describe student behavior. You're speaking when I'm speaking. The board is written all over. And we possibly refer to the rules that we have in the class. We have the rule that the board is clean at the beginning of the lesson. And the third one is active listening, where we listen to our students, we accept their feelings, and paraphrase what they are saying to lead them to their own solutions. And can you still remember the negative feelings that my statements from the beginning of the presentation evoked in you? So what if I didn't tell you, you're not here to sleep, you're here to work? But I would say, I can see that you are really tired today. And instead of, I can see that you are not interested in my presentation, you can just leave the Zoom meeting. I would say, when your cameras are off, I wonder whether you are interested in what I'm saying. And that makes me quite nervous. And I wouldn't say, you need to work now, leave the phone until after the presentation. I would say, I noticed that you're having a hard time focusing. Is there something I can help you with? So how do you feel? Can you see or feel the difference? You can have a look at the supportive statements on the right side of the slide and try to label which strategies are used in the boxes. What is number 1, number 2, and number 3? And you can post it again into chat. Okay, label the statements. What strategies are there on the right side? And post your answers into chat.
Okay. If there's anything, then let's have a look. Okay, Nelly. Number 1 tells how I feel. It may be wrong. Okay. Anyone else want to share? Okay, Kotka. Number 1 is hinting. Number 2 is an I statement. 3 is empathic listening. Okay. Question, same thing, I think. Hinting, I statement, empathic listening, or active listening. Yep, fine.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing. It can be this way. I labeled it actually that the first one is active listening or active empathic listening when we paraphrase what the student is saying or feeling. The second one is I statements. And the third one is active listening again. And hinting is missing here. That was tricky. But I agree that the first one can be labeled as hinting as well. So great. It seems that you already are on the way in mastering these strategies. So one more question. Do you still remember the situation from your classroom that you shared with us at the beginning of the presentation? So try to recall the situation. And how would you solve the situation now? How would you respond to the students or to the student? So get back to the situation and write a response, a specific statement that you would tell to your students, possibly using some of the strategies that you have learned today. I will share with you my statement, which I would tell to the students.
Anyone has to leave, the recording will be on our YouTube channel. So Jirina says, I can tell that you are having a hard time completing the activity. What do you need to be able to do your best work? Basically, it's 2 parts of a statement, right? Okay, and I'm just checking the chat here. Okay. Nelly has one. It sounds like you're tired. Are you? So kind of checking in with the learner at the level that they are kind of displaying the emotions, right? Dylan says he has to go. Okay, fine. Sebastian says, I can see you're very excited about something. What is going on today? Is there anything I can do for you? Sebastian's situation that the kids are really excited and then he can't start teaching. I think that's what it was, right? All right, okay, wonderful. Yes, all right, okay, so that's what it was, okay, fine, okay. Anyone else would like to attempt? Okay, here we are, okay. When you are copying the translation, it really makes it, whoa, slipped. It really makes it hard for me to support you. Is there something I can help you with? Jirina's nodding, yeah, is this okay?
Okay, good. Great, okay.
Great, okay.
I statement.
I statement, all right, okay. Amy says, with children, I've used these strategies, but not with adults. I might say something like, it seems like this topic isn't as interesting to you as I expected. Can you tell me what's on your mind today? No? Jirina, any comments?
Yeah, I agree. I'm reading the statements. I'm glad to read them.
Yeah.
I do agree with them.
Okay. Robert has one here. You seem a little distracted. Is everything okay? If you feel like talking about it, let me know.
Okay, so basically what you are doing is checking with the students if you understand what's going on, if you understand their needs and their feelings. And Katka was giving an I statement where she also recognized her needs and her emotions, which is important to share with the students so that they know why their behavior is interfering with your needs, because they wouldn't know if you don't tell them.
Okay. Kathy has one here. Oh, Valerie, sorry. You're having a hard time focusing. Is there something I can help you with? So acknowledging kind of what's happening and then not telling them what to do, but asking what it is that you can do to support them in that situation. And then Kathy here, it seems like something is up. What should I know? How can I help? So open questions, right? And this is working with adults. Jirina, in your experience, so is there a difference in the kind of metacognitive questions you can be asking between adults and children? So is there anything there?
I don't think so. It's actually just about getting them used to the responsibility, because they're often not used to take responsibility for their behavior and learning, obviously, because what frequently happens is that they simply don't get the opportunity. So it's just that we need to try doing this, try giving them the responsibility slowly, step by step, and it can take some time. It can take half a year, it can take a year until they are completely okay with this approach. But this way that you check with them their feelings and their needs, and that you acknowledge them, it's a good way to let them solve their situations for themselves. If you have some issue with their behavior, which is an example of Katka, because she was irritated by that they used the Google Translator, then using iMessage is a good choice, because you tell them what's wrong for you, that you are irritated or nervous or angry, and why is it a problem? Because it makes you it is difficult for you to, for example, give instructions or to give them support. And this way they can solve the situation because they know why is it a problem.
All right. Okay, fine. Okay. Are there any more slides? I'm just wondering, you know, how.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you for sharing. So it seems that you're leaving with the strategies in mind. And if you also leave today with the idea that what you say and how you say it when you respond to student behavior matter and have a certain impact on students' feelings, self-concept, responsibility, and autonomy, then you have more than enough. And you can choose one strategy and you can start using it from tomorrow in your classroom. And I wonder which strategy will it be, so you can post it into chat. And for those interested, I will also post some additional references on the topic. So 2 books and 2 articles. And you also have my email address, so feel free to reach me with any questions that you have. So here are the references. Thank you so much for your attention, for sharing with me your ideas, for your active attention. And now, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very, very much for this. It had a wonderful flow and I love the pictures. When I first had a look at them, I was very excited to look at the things that were going on here. And it seemed very exciting thing to be experiencing as we were moving on. And of course, in the bibliography here, we can see Sarah Mercer. So she's one of the people who is very interested in agency, learner autonomy, well-being, etc. Yeah, we're getting a lot of thank yous here. Do we have access to the presentation itself? Yes, they will be on our YouTube channel, which can be accessed if you type in International Language Coaching Association, then you're going to find it on YouTube. So there will be a recording in a short time, 1 or 2 days. Okay, so definitely that's going to be there. Okay, and are there any questions? I'm just looking in here. Great, thank you so much. Thank you, Jirina. It was a great presentation with innovative, inspiring, and practical tips. Thank you very much. My question here would be, what is everyone leaving with? And you can unmute yourself if you want, and we'd open it up now a bit for discussion here. Kathy has here something: as teachers and coaches, avoid taking anything personally to continue the flow between learner and teacher / coach. So that's very important for us to keep in mind. You don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, exactly. Taking the things not personally, and also being open to the feelings of the others, like without judgments. That's true. And I agree with Nelly that mindfulness is a huge part of this, definitely.
Definitely.
So if you can post one takeaway, that's a great idea. So do so. What is your one takeaway from today?
Okay, curious to know. Kathy has reminders of our words, body language, voice. They all have influences. Yeah, absolutely. They impact the learners. Thank you. Any other impacts? How important words are. That's Gabi. Okay, thank you. Anything else that you kind of take away with you in your bag? Close interaction. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, Robert. Could you perhaps tell us? Okay, Kathy needs to go. Thank you very much for being here. What does that close interaction mean, Robert?
Bye-bye, Kathy.
Okay, words play an important role. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Yes, that's true. Amy says, keep comments on student behavior non-judgmental. And isn't that so difficult to keep it objective? Absolutely. Ellie says she's glad others are interested in learner autonomy. It's a huge, big topic now, isn't it? I mean, it's one of those buzzwords now in ELT. Is it learner autonomy, how to keep the responsibility or put the responsibility on the learners? Absolutely, right, okay. It's about time, yes. We agree, don't we? Jirina, can you tell us how you got interested in learner autonomy? So how you started moving into this direction?
Well, I always had teachers who were very much teacher-directed and were very directive and using communication roadblocks, and which did not give me many place for responsibility. And once I came across a teacher at the university who gave me the responsibility and the autonomy, and I was amazed. And I didn't know what to do with the responsibility. So it was very tough at the beginning, even for me when I was 23 years old. But I got used to it, and it's the basic need. Autonomy is one of the basic needs. So I was glad to have this need met. And I started to read more about how can I also support autonomy in my learners, because it felt brilliant when you have the opportunity to take control over your actions and learning.
Okay, all right, okay. So basically it was at university level when this came up, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so that's what happened there. Okay, and it took one teacher for you to change what was going on, yeah? And yeah, Nelly is saying it's mutual learning. I mean, that's what happens, that everyone starts understanding that it's a little bit like finding the right balance, who does what. So it's also connected to roles, right? Okay, well, thank you very much. First of all, Jirina, thank you very much for being here, for listening to all the ideas that everyone came up with. And thank you very much, everyone, for attending. I know that time is limited and it is very warm here in Europe anyway. So thank you for your attention. If you're interested, you want to watch this talk again, then go onto our YouTube channel. Sign up for our newsletters. There are lots of things going on for us this summer, also workshops, etc. And I think I'll be giving a talk next month. So that's going to be me in July. So looking forward to that, definitely. So thank you, everyone, for being here. And despite the heat and everything, great that everyone was here. Lovely feedback. Thank you very, very much for being here again. And I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank you very much, everyone.